Blessings and welcome. I am Tuesday Mae Thomas. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be with you this beautiful January Sunday afternoon. It's January 8th, and I've just pulled a spread for us. I'm doing things a little bit differently from this year on, and I do want to make a few announcements. As a lot of you know, I am an author, a speaker, a master Reiki teacher, and a Heaven on Earth ambassador. So first, I am an author. I had published this book, Confessions of a Spiritual Apprentice, back in 2014. And it embodies basically my entire spiritual growth from around the age of 5 up until my early 30s. Thing is that when I wrote it and I launched it and I put it out on Amazon, I really didn't have a plan for it. And I just really needed to do the writing of my story of my life as a cathartic healing. After that year happened, I basically collapsed into a heap, realizing that I had put my whole my whole life out for the world to read and to view. But it was vital and necessary for me to do that. But there was this interesting high of releasing the book, and then this low of oh shit, what have I done? I've just told all my stuff. Well, actually, I would never tell all my stuff, right? We always keep those especially sacred nuggets to ourselves. So I did keep, of course, some stuff for myself, but I really give you everything that I've learned and all my highs and my lows, my trials and my tribulations throughout my entire spiritual growth. I give that to the reader for you to learn. I know in my path, what I do here in this lifetime is I learn what I learn and I publish the findings to pay it forward. So what I'm about to tell you is that this book is going to be retired from Amazon this year in 2017. I'm actually going to take it off the shelf slowly. Now, there are a few versions of this that are for sale. You know how when you buy a book and then you read it and then you can put it up and sell it again, like a used book kind of thing. So there will be still some actual paper version books of this available on Amazon until they completely sell out. So if you have this book now, or if you're guided to buy the actual physical version of this now, you will actually have a collector's edition at some point. Right? And the new version, the new revised version that I will be putting out is called The Reiki Apprentice. As I really feel that the story, even though it is the story of spiritual apprenticeship, ultimately the story is about me and learning to heal my life with Reiki and the metaphysical energy tools that I learn through apprenticeship with my Grand Reiki Master Teacher. So again, the new book will be called The Reiki Apprentice. I will be publishing it and launching it out this year. And this book, Confessions of a Spiritual Apprentice, will be retired. It will be taken off of Kindle, and it will be taken off the shelf of Amazon, with only those few left that are sort of up for grabs that people will be seeking to maybe buy a hard copy of that. The reason why I'm doing that is because the original story, as I said, was about me really shedding skins and healing my life through writing my story. And once I'd gone through that high and that low, and my life took another few twists and turns, looking back at it, I realized that the victim in that story, in that book, is no longer who I am. I no longer identify with that part of me. Writing that book was such a healing for my entire life that I cannot share it in the way that it is written now. So the revised edition actually will speak to having a different lead character. Currently, in Confessions, I am the lead character because it's a book about my life, but only you know that because you're watching this, or you've read the book, or you're my buddy, my friend, and you already know. But ultimately, as I intend to really, truly market the book and reach a much wider audience, they don't need to know that the story is uniquely, specifically about me. And it's easier for me to share and tell the story and share the teachings, even more importantly, about it, if it's not about me. And because I no longer identify as that character, as that person, it's easier for me to stand on a different platform with a new title and a new cover and be able to speak and share and pay it forward. So thank you for listening to my little blurb about that. And I may be sharing a little bit at intros for my other videos over the months until I actually do my big launch for the book. Another thing is that as I do come forward and launch that book, I'm going to be creating a new subscriber field on my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com, whereby you will be able to download for free through subscribing to my website. You will be able to download for free a deep healing Reiki meditation, the MP3 basically of the video audio that's on my YouTube channel. It has almost 50,000 hits, and that's with me not doing anything. That's just with putting it up there, following my guidance to put it up there, and over the couple years, it's gotten a lot of positive feedback, and I feel divinely guided to share that as a free gift for those of you who will be a subscriber and join my email list and be a part of my reader group for my new book. So I will be announcing that. It's not set up just yet, but in the meantime, if you want to stop by my website, you're more than welcome to. I appreciate it. So this year we are doing something different. I'm divinely called to read in a different way. At the end of last year, I was shuffling and guided to sort of split the deck in half and read the whole half of the deck, which was really cool. And I feel like we really needed that to like kind of get to where we're going or where we are now. This year, what I'm guided to do is I've pulled one main card that is the central theme. And then there's cards above it which represent the mental aspects that we're all coming from that will serve us to be aware of as we move forward. And what lies below it is what's going on the subconscious or the hidden realm that would serve us to be more aware of. And then on the left and the right of us, there is one card on either side that would serve us to understand the actual worldly lessons, the divine guidance of what will serve us in moving forward, so that we can be more present with what abides, right? That's how it works. So I'm really excited about that. And another thing that I'm so stoked to share with you is I'm guided to pull one Mayan Oracle card. And these cards are so mamba jamba, the bomb. I've been using these as long as I've been using the Osho Zen. So the cards I mainly read with are these, right? The Osho Zen Tarot. But this deck I've been reading for, again, 20 years. But I've been reading and sharing readings for 20 years. But these I've been reading just for myself and just having them as a divine sort of oracle that I'm guided to pull for myself from time to time. But now what I'm guided to do is I'm guided to take the lenses, just the lenses. The Mayan Oracle has 3 different sections in it, and I'm guided to just take the lenses. We're going to shuffle those at the end, pull one, and I'm going to actually read it because I don't know them off by heart. So I'm going to actually read it. If you're interested, it's the galactic cosmic level of where we're going with all this, right? This whole world, Earth, moving from 3D to 4D, and I'm just divinely guided that it may serve all of us. I'm going to have to put my glasses on for that to read for you, so it will be my first time wearing glasses on the YouTube. Okay, so first of all, the beauty of this first card that came that wants to be in our awareness is the flowering card. Can you see that? There we go. So flowering, look at her, right? She came up when I first started doing these readings on YouTube in May of 2016. She was one of the first themes that came up. And if you can look deeply at her, she is just so beautiful. Look at her aura. She's wearing the symbol of Venus over her neck. I don't know if you can see that. There's little tiny spiral ripples in the waters under her, and she's sitting on a lotus flower. And if you can look even deeper, there's seeds, what looks like there's seeds just being cast out from her hands and being sort of thrown and given, right, to wherever they land. So we're going to speak on that. Ultimately, flowering represents the part of us that is ready to grow, ready to bust out, right? There's a card in this deck that is called Courage, and it speaks to the seed being, imagine you're like a little seed that falls into the crack of the cement sidewalk. It is said that seeds can stay seeds for like a millennia, for just like thousands and thousands, hundreds of years. I mean, count your numbers. Like it could just stay a seed until the correct conditions come about that it may begin to sprout. And so imagine all those seeds within you that have just been waiting. They've been waiting for the correct conditions to come about so that they can begin to sprout, right, and grow. And what it's showing us is that there's all these seeds in these parts of us that are ready, that are beginning to flower. We have been doing our work. And it's interesting, as we go through this reading further, there are some themes that had come up over those last several months of last year. And it's really interesting to look at that in regard, but it does show that we are learning how to relax, and that is the guidance, is learning how to relax so that we can shift into the divine feminine aspect of our being. It is said on many different teachings that we're moving out of patriarchy, we're moving away from the masculine energies and the masculine way of doing, and we're moving more into the receptive, the feminine, the matriarchy grids of being. And it is through that being that we receive, right? Doing is making, is active, is sort of putting energy out into the world. The feminine aspect is learning how to be, learning how to relax, and allowing things to come to us. Doesn't that sound nice and juicy? Just let life come to you. Right? Let the blessings come to you. So the time is done. And yes, it serves us to know when the vortex is open, to know how to do it and be active and go for it and do all that stuff. Yet, to do life constantly in that way, what the cards are telling us is it's like, you're going to be expending way too much energy than you need to by doing things in that old, outmoded way. Now it is a time, whether you're male, female, or whatever you identify as, that it is time to learn to relax, to receive, and to be receptive, to turn on your intuitive capabilities and abilities so that you can with ease and with grace be present for all that is ready to bring to you, because your little seeds are beginning to sprout. And as they reach for the light that you've accumulated, that you've been calling in through your healings, through your prayers, through your meditations, through your Reiki work, through all the different beautiful modalities that you may be guided to be with, just being in nature more, breathing more consciously, eating more consciously, whatever all the ways are that it are for you, that you've been turning on that awareness and that consciousness. Well, this divine feminine aspect is a part of your innate nature, because we all contain masculine and feminine. This is a part of your innate divine nature that is ready to come up and to be born through you. And she is so out of sight. She is ready to cast her seed. So it's interesting, because from that one seed, and you may have many that are beginning to flower now, but from that one seed are contained an infinite further seeds. And in this card, she has a handful of seeds, right, in each hand, and she's basically just letting them go. She's casting them out wherever they go. And see, the thing about the divine feminine is she's not concerned. She's not concerned in trying to make sure, oh, we have to make sure this seed goes here. We have to make sure that seed goes there. She's not trying to control it, right? And that's the thing with the feminine. She's just trusting and aligning with her divine will and with the higher will that she's divinely guided to be connected with. And so sharing and extending that love, extending those seeds, and really not minding if they sprout or if they don't sprout, or when they do or if they don't, or where they land, if they land on rock or if they land on fertile soil. She's just a part of her grace is the extending and the giving and the sharing and the being what she is. And remember, that was a theme last month, was that it's time to share your gifts. And so here you are sharing your gifts. And whether it seems on a large scale or on a smaller scale, you are beginning to do that. You're beginning to feel the draw, the pull to do that and to be that. And it is very natural. Right? This is not something that you're, again, the masculine, that you're going to have to force, like, oh, I got to start sharing my gifts, and oh, this is so hard. How am I going to do that? I got to figure it out. It's not one of those things. It's what is natural to you, what becomes in your nature to extend. I have a friend in Santa Barbara who is an amazing dancer. Man, he has got the moves, and it is in his nature to share and extend and pay that forward. He decided to get a Zumba certification, and man, he is rocking it out. He's just, and it's good for him, it's good for his body, he's building community, he gets to embody being a teacher, and he's stepping into his power in that way, because it's something he always wanted to do, and now he's doing it, and he's being able to extend his graces in that way, and coming full circle into being more in his power. And so that's just a little example. It's like me starting these tarot card readings mid last year. I'm soon going to be starting my YouTube live show where we're going to do questions and answers, and that's a part of me that has been calling, and it's been a seed, and I know it's been in there. It's been this little seed in here and waiting, and now it's beginning to sprout, and I'm beginning to be shown in my meditations how to navigate it, what to do, where to go, who to talk to, how to organize it and get prepared for it. So like that, your seeds are ready. And just to finalize on this card, she is so, which way are we going? She is so beautiful. She is love. She loves herself. This is a card of self-love, not self-sabotage. She loves herself. She practices self-care. Her fountain is overflowing. She takes care of herself so much that when it comes to being and extending grace and love and help and counsel, whatever it might be for others, it's natural. She's not using her own reserves of energy because she's already filled herself up to the point where she's overflowing. And that's your job, is to keep doing that, right? We don't stop doing that. We continue. Now we learn how to do that, and then we keep doing that. And look at her beautiful aura. Look at her halo upon halo. Right? That's us. And we're sitting on this beautiful lotus leaf, right? We've come out of the mud. We have been in the mud. We have been in the dark ages. And it is time. We are rising to the light. And this is you, and this is me, and this is everyone who is guided to watch this YouTube channel and this month's tarot reading. She sits on this lotus, so we're finally, right? We're finally levitating from the earthly gravity of our past, of the things that have been requiring our healing, our time and attention, our love, and our sight and our closure. And it shows this lotus is floating on the water, and there's really small little spirals in the water that represent the playfulness of our emotions, right? So we're beginning to learn how to come to this new place of being able to access our emotional body without feeling like we have to hide from it or be afraid from it, because there's all this stuff shoved in there that we don't want to see, that we don't want to deal with, right? We've been learning how to deal with it. We've been learning how to rise up into our power by facing the demons, if you want to call that, of our past, the pains of our past, releasing the need to keep playing the tapes of being the victim. You know, like we're done. We're shedding those skins. And that's what this card speaks to. And it is so powerful. It is so beautiful. And I'm so excited for all of us. Oh, and just so you know, I usually do these readings around the 8th, 9th, or 10th of the month. And they do go till the 8th, 9th, or 10th of the following month. So we've got like a 30-day window that we're working within. Okay, now we're going to look to what is above us. Okay, so I did have to go and put a fan on at the back of my laptop, and it's very interesting. It speaks to what the next card is, and it speaks to this level of upgrading, right? Upgrading our life. The card that was directly above flowering is Thunderbolt, and in this Osho Zen tarot deck, the Thunderbolt speaks to the Tower, right? If you know the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, look at this. It's like totally the Tower. People are throwing themselves from the floors. I guess it's not really that funny, but in the sense of like, shit's going down. You gotta, you get out, like lightning bolts are hitting this individual. You see the individual being there, sitting in the meditation pose, and almost these little flaming areas being the chakras down the center line, and all that does not resonate as truth any longer is being released, right? Is being purged, because the electrical activity is your kundalini, is your life force energy, and it's ready to bump up. It's those seeds that are sprouting, but those seeds cannot sprout to their full potential unless space is cleared and made way for them. I have another friend who decided to go on a journey of healing, and he's like, not miserable, but he's going like, oh my God, if I knew what this healing was going to take, I don't know if I would have gone on it. And that's the thing. We sometimes think like, I'm going to devote myself to healing my life, right? And then you bump up into all your stuff and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't really know if I want to go there, because it's a purge, right? You cannot take that vibration with you where you know in your heart is the truth of your healthy, healed, full self, that you see yourself going to or being as you are now. To get to that point B of yourself from the point A here, something's got to change within you. The alchemy has to take place within you. The release of what is no longer true. The healing has to happen so that you can be free and be clear, and so the Tower of Babel can come crashing down, and that lightning bolt will hit you to do that clearing, right? And so if we don't do that healing for ourselves on a regular basis, as those lightning bolts come in our life, whether through relationships, through work, through being in nature, through your meditations, through your own alchemical process of healing your life, whatever that may be, if we're not preparing our physical being, if we're not preparing our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body to receive it, it's going to be more of a ba-boom, right? And some people need a huge car accident, and some people need cancer, some people need really powerful traumatic situations in order to make the changes in their life to actually come back to the truth of who they are. And I know that sounds really deep, but I feel cheeky enough that I can say that because I've seen that in my life over and over and over again, doing multiple and many works in hospitals and with people near death, in comas, dying of all sorts of ailments, and working through deep healing, really deep life healing, where it's gotten to that point of almost having to die for them to forgive and release and make peace with those aspects of their life. And whether they pass or not almost doesn't even matter. It's the importance of making peace, of allowing that healing to happen. And so I bring it back to the fan at the back of my laptop, and I pray that it's not going to interfere in the sound quality. But here I am thinking, I get this download in my meditation, like I'm going to start these YouTube live shows, and it's going to be so cool. We're going to do Q&A, and I'm going to be talking about Reiki and metaphysics and multidimensional healing and all this stuff, and I'm going to start to build this platform. And then I realized that my computer hasn't been upgraded since I got it. And I talked to the Mac people, and they're like, oh, you've got a vintage Mac. And I'm like, what? Vintage? It's only 7 years old or 8 years old or something, but according to them, that's vintage. And I've never had the RAM upgraded, I've never had the hard drive upgraded, So anyway, so I'm going through this purge even on my computer of clearing out old applications that are just taking up space that I don't need. And I'm going to soon be getting my RAM updated, getting a solid state hard drive. It's like all these little upgrades so that I can move forward, do these recordings, do more filming, do live shows and stuff without my computer freaking out and like making too much noise or the fans buzzing, and overheating and all that stuff. So the same thing applies to us, right? What apps are running in your mind? Because remember, this top layer we're talking about now, this is all above flowering. And I've only got into one card so far, the Thunderbolt. So what apps are in your computer of your mind that are just taking up space, that are running and running and running your life, your mental state, your mental being, but that are not serving you any longer, that are making you overheat, right? That are making you break down, and that are really debilitating and self-sabotaging you and your life. And you see, as we align in self-mastery, which is what we're doing, which is why the universe is like, it's time to start getting cosmic and galactic. This is no longer just about the 3D and the earth realm. If you hang out with me on this channel and you listen to these offerings, you know that we're going to another level, that we have the opportunity to create the correct conditions within ourselves, to prepare ourselves so that we can let it come to us, this next level, and it's all about love, right? And we get there by being here. We get there by being here. So the electrical storms are coming. I know I've been through my own series of attunements, universal attunements, not even talking Reiki attunements, but universal attunements. And if you're an energy healer, practitioner, worker, teacher, you'll know what I'm talking about. And maybe if you're not, you'll know what I'm talking about. The divine has ways of touching our hearts and our minds and our bodies that offer us opportunities to cleanse, to purge, and to purify. But it's up to us to make the choice. Are we going to stay with those old apps, those old installed apps, or are we going to uninstall them, clear the space for further light to be embodied in ourselves, in our mind, and in our being, so that we can vibrate as that light and very naturally draw to us what is of that light in likeness to the truth in our heart. Makes sense, right? Energetically, spiritually, consciously. Absolutely it does. So this is very, very interesting to me because I remember the theme The theme, there was a little bit left over last month in December, but in November, the big theme were that these two players were at hand, success and laziness. Two opposite sides of the spectrum, right? In order to have success, you can't be lazy. You cannot be lazy. And this is what me and you, a lot of us are recognizing and having to suck up and be like, yeah, success is you living your truth. I call myself a heaven on earth ambassador because I've had enough life experiences at this point to know that heaven on earth is already here. It is a reality. It is a dimensional space of being, of existing, of living that does require preparation. And heaven on earth, there's many different definitions that I have for heaven on earth. And there is a book that I'm writing right now that I'm so excited, but it's still in the beginning, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But there is a part of it that speaks to heaven on earth is your ability to love and embody the truth in your heart, right? To love yourself enough to embody the truth in your heart. And that's so simple to say and to think like, yeah, that sounds about right. But to really be the warrior and do that and be that who you are as your truth, that is ultimate success. And we were having some issues with this the last couple months because I know for me, because I was lacking my wine, I needed to create more structure, right? If I'm going to be this, author, that I know that's in my heart. It's been in my heart since the year 2000. This realization that I need to publish my findings and pay them forward and share the teachings. Yet I wasn't ready, right? And I was beginning to compile my material. Anyway, over time, what I've realized is I've found a lot of ways to block my truth, to block myself from being successful in that. I've found a lot of ways to be lazy. He's sipping a cocktail. I've found a lot of ways to drink wine instead of making time to write. And then I'm like, where did that day go? No, I'm not drinking wine all day. But but you know what I mean? Like I'll start having a glass at 6 o'clock at night. And then I'm like ready for bed by 8:39 because I'm like, oh, I've had a couple glasses. I got, but there's 2-3 hours there that I could be writing, that I could be compiling my ideas, that I could be editing stuff I've already worked on. So that's just an example. But for all of us, we've been learning how to exercise our will, exercise our strength so that we can indeed honor the truth in our hearts. And that is a muscle. You see, if you can look, I don't know, it's a little old, it's a little fuzzy maybe, but he's sitting like on sheets of ice, and that ice is beginning to break. There's only so long that laziness can prevail, and there's only so far that laziness will take us. And laziness is not flowering. Laziness is not embodying the truth in your heart. Laziness is like kicking back and thinking about what could be, but never actually creating the correct conditions within ourselves so that we have the correct perception and the aligned willpower with the truth in our heart to be available to opportunities and situations to make it so. So what I'm excited about, though, is that Thunderbolt is overflowering, and on either side of the Thunderbolt, we have these two juxtapositions that we've been working with, these qualities, for the last several months. And what is so super cool is that if you still feel that you're thunderbolting, if you still feel like I'm just not flowering, my seeds are not sprouting yet, I've got some more work to do, please watch my video, Energy Letter, right? How to write a letter from your higher self to their higher self. It's all about tuning into your higher self and writing an energy letter to the higher self of people, even places or things from past lives, and clearing the air. So much of what holds us back in the moment from embodying the truth in our hearts is the BS in our memory, in our cells, in the cellular memory that makes us up. It's like baggage, it's the cross that we bear, it's the victim mentality, and it's time. We're done. If you're done, write your letters. Go watch my energy letter video and it's here or somewhere. I don't know. I haven't done that thing where, you know, the YouTubers go and just watch my video here. So I don't know if it's going to be over here or over here, but it's going to be up there somewhere. So please check it out if you dig that idea. It's really, really potent. Okay. It's a way to create closure, completion, to forgive on a higher level that is, if you can't face someone face to face, or they're passed away, or they live in China or something like that, it's a way to energetically create the healing that your higher self may be guided to serve you with, so that you can clear your channels to be and embody the great truth that's in your heart. That is bridging heaven on earth, is each of us honoring the truth in our heart. No matter how grand or simple and basic it might seem, it's equally important. So this is very powerful. So right next to laziness, we have the Creator. This is, and he came up here last month as well. This is your third chakra, which is I am here. This is your ability to embody in the third dimension, this world, this earth plane, your truth, and to hold it in your power. So any exercises that will allow you to build strength, to build chi, to build prana in your third chakra. If you feel a little wobbly there, if you do the Reiki, lay your hands, even if you don't do the Reiki, lay your hands on your third chakra, breathe that golden yellow light into your third chakra. And actually, I do have a meditation for it. I don't have one to point to here or there. But I will record it, because it's very, very simple, and it's very basic, and it's very potent. I've used it with students and clients and at workshops for years, and it helps to create that golden sphere of light in your third chakra, so that you are not so sensitive to all the things in the world that can knock us off our center, right? Our job, hi Moses, our job is to stay in our center, so that from that center and aligned place, we can not react to the world, but respond from a sense of self-mastery. It's like our anchor point in the world, and it's how we connect in the 3D with other people, places, and things. And if your third chakra isn't balanced on a regular basis, you're going to feel overwhelmed by the earth and all the issues. If you watch TV, I do not own a TV. I do have my favorite shows. I'm like a YouTube kind of a junkie, a little bit, but I don't, you know, I have a couple shows on the normal TV that I watch from time to time on the internet, but very, very rarely, right? I love reading, I love meditating, imagining, and writing my own darn stories, writing my own darn books. And so I very rarely watch the media and don't get sucked into it. And that's something that can so drain your ability to stay in your power, is believing all that stuff that's told to you through the media. So please be mindful, especially if you're super sensitive, and if you're bumping your energy up, please be mindful what you're letting in and feeding and nourishing yourself with. Meditate first, right? Marianne Williamson always says at the beginning of the day, before you even get out of bed and go turn on the news or the TV or go on the computer, or I know people who wake up first thing in the morning and put CNN on and eat breakfast. They're eating while they watch. All that violence and that brainwashing and all that food that they're digesting is going into their system. And no wonder they have digestive problems. You get it? Yes, you get it. So your job is to be a master of your time and space. Learn self-mastery. Be firm with yourself. Create new patterns. Create new habits. This is a perfect time to do it, right? Because all these grids are up of this, what do they call them? Resolutions, right? It's a new year. So get into creating and honoring a new blueprint for yourself, which really isn't new at all. It's the truth that's always been there. Right? But what we need to do, what we get to do, is to create the correct conditions within ourselves and allow this divine purging, this thunderbolt to hit us and boom, and get your, get rid of those old programs again in your computer, in your mind, and reinstall, up your RAM, up your hard drive, so that you can, with ease, energetically hold more light, more love. And this is beautiful, because ultimately what is happening is this healing. You are going through a healing, right? And it's a mental healing. And it does speak directly to uninstalling those programs that no longer serve your life path, that no longer serve the truth of who you are and where you see yourself being here, now, or later in your future. It's just so, so powerful. And this is a massive, massive emotional healing. And the emotional healing is so deeply interconnected to the mind and the thoughts. Your thoughts completely trigger your emotional responses in the world. And when you change your thoughts, you change the way you see things, your emotional responses change. And so that's a part of the uninstalling, right? And if you're a facilitator of any sort of a sacred modality, Reiki, massage, one of my friends has a pal who does the boom, the tuning forks, and there's just all sorts of cool sound healing. If you have a community, what I'm getting is it's a beautiful time right now to share, right? If you have a skill and a tool, why don't you, divinely guided, right? Like ask your higher self, your guides, your angels, whatever you believe in, God, if you believe in that to be guided of who to maybe have an exchange with. Because there is a healing that is happening, but there's also a very proactive third dimensional means of you learning to heal yourself, but also of you being able to embody that healing in a third dimensional way by consciously being open to receiving, right? Some kind of hands-on healing. There's some kind of a touch. There's some kind of a human touch or something that touches your physical body. And it might just be sound. It might just be those sound waves. It might be the tuning forks. It might be laying on of hands with Reiki. It might be a massage. But this is a nice month to allow yourself to treat yourself if it's been a long time since you've received in that way, or to do an exchange with someone that you feel has the appropriate aligned energy that you guys could serve each other. And what is hugely healing is creativity. Creativity. There's a lot of authors and a lot of artists that are the most successful ones that I know, and the famous ones that we all know, create every single day. They create something on some level every single day. And for each of us, that will be different. Are you creating art, music, poetry, a story, creating a new landscape in your garden, creating a new vision for your life, creating, in a way, the ultimate creation is creating the correct circumstances within yourself, i.e. meditating, praying, being at one with nature, doing those things that quiet the mind so that the Most High, right, so that God, which I consider to be the maximal love and light in the universe, so that that God force can, that divine, what really is divine creation, can channel through you and create through you. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. So creativity, though, is definitely a part of the healing for you. Now, what else? Okay, so now we're going to go down below. We're going to go to the subconscious level. So it's so beautiful because, again, we have these repeats. We have a few, actually, I think everything here on the bottom is a repeat of an accumulation of what's been going on for the past half a year, really. And directly under flowering is this rebirth card. And we've had rebirth before, right? It's the dull camel. It's basically moving from unconsciousness to consciousness. The dull camel in the clouds, kind of just going along with whatever the world presents to, going along with whatever everyone tells him to do, he'll do, and really not thinking for yourself, right? It's like watching the news and believing that everything on the news is true, right? And then being affected, reacting, and just sort of taking it word for word that is what's going on, and that everything that you're receiving information through that way is in fact true. And what happens is when we start to practice our spiritual modalities that attune us with the oneness that is beyond the duality of this third dimension, we begin to find that lion within us begins to find its voice of authenticity. And remember, authenticity and individuality, yes, we all have our individual aspects of being. Ultimately, this speaks to the part of you that remembers that you are one with something that is much greater than the news on your television, that you are much greater than the stories your parents told you about yourself and the world, that your society tells you, that even your religions may tell you, right? All the traditions. I'm not here to rock anyone's world in that way. I mean, it might, but I'm just telling it straight, like that there's often a lot of us that have grown up with certain stories, being told certain stories about how the world is and who to be afraid of and who to hate and who to love and who to trust and what not to trust, cultures, traditions, races, and all that stuff is getting banished, right? As our seeds grow and as we extend ourselves to greater love and light, those old stories, Tower of Babel, coming down, because we realize the truth is heaven on earth, and the truth is we are all one. We are one unified system of being, and it is so refreshing. It is like such a release and such a relief to come into that attunement and that oneness. So what we're doing is we're moving from being dull, believing everything that we're told, into that realization of individuality, which ultimately then transcends into that unification of that youth playing the flute, which ultimately represents innocence and that divine connection with something greater than ourselves. Okay, so rebirth, right? This is what's happening deep, deep, deep down inside on that subconscious level. Ready or not, rebirth is ready to happen. It's happening for you, for me, for this whole planet, actually. And again, you know, coming back, the very first reading I ever did, which is not on my channel anymore, I took down a whole bunch of those readings that I did from last year. But the very first one I ever did, I remember, was in May of 2016, and it spoke to creating a new vision, right, and going beyond the illusion of what we believed before. And with it, what happens is this intensity. So when you clear and you uninstall those old programs, right, and you go beyond them, and you begin to heal your life and get over your laziness, your patterns of addiction and laziness and whatever, just all that stuff. And you start to like align yourself with your truth and begin to embody heaven on earth, the truth in your heart. What happens is you gather this momentum and this intensity. And if you can see it, it's like this arrow and there's this being and it's just like zoom. And with it, like you gather all this divine inherent momentum that carries you, right? So again, instead of that masculine, like trying to make things happen and trying to do it and make it happen, because you've created the correct conditions within yourself, the waves and the winds are able to carry you to everywhere you need to be, right? But you got to be clear and receptive so that you can step on the correct wave or step on the surfboard, the energetic surfboard, at the right time and space to be carried. And with that, breakthrough. So this is really like a cousin of the Creator. So again, it's very, very important for you to keep that third chakra clear. I am going to make that video and I'm going to post it like ASAP, maybe even in time to put a little bubble up here or over there. We'll see. But this is really what's going on, and it's interesting. As above, so below. So again, ready or not, you are going to be challenged to step up into your power, to step up into your truth. And it's not like someone's going to challenge you. It's the truth in your heart that's going to be knocking at your door, that's going to be so obvious that really what's going to happen is if you don't and you continue to do this, this is ultimately death, right? This is all self-sabotage and laziness and addiction, and all that stuff does at the end of the day is it wants to kill you and suffocate you and drown you. And it wants you to think, the tar body wants you to think that that is the truth of you and that you will never get or be or attain what that truth in your heart is. But that's why we meditate. That's why we do our spiritual practices. That's why we turn off the TV. That's why we Reiki. That's why we create the correct conditions to relax, because the God voice, the divine voice, the absolute truth voice in your heart speaks very softly. It's not the yabbering of all those voices on the TV. It's that still, quiet, small whisper and voice within you. And that's why we meditate, right? So that we can create, again, those correct conditions to embody the truth in our heart, to embody greater love and greater light, that we may flower and bring those flowers and spread those seeds of beauty in the world. So what's also going on in that subconscious level is slowing down, right? So, and this has come up before, and this actually speaks a lot to this divine feminine aspect of flowering. Because again, the masculine, the male, is all about go, 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 get it, go, do it, go, 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 right? Be on all the time. And not that the feminine isn't on. The feminine is absolutely about being turned on. And I have other videos on that. I just did an amazing workshop this December, really totally inspired by the healing in my life that I received from doing a most profound retreat with a dear, dear sister, Laura Karate. I have to put a link for her somewhere here as well. She runs a series of retreats, and her grid is called Path of Tantra. And it is so absolutely powerful. If you look her up and you get a chance to study with her and do one of her retreats, you will learn more about yourself in those 5 or 6 days or 10 days, however long the retreat you're able to do with her. And it will change your life forever. I know for me it's totally guided, and I love her and I respect her, and she's just a sister forever, and I'm so grateful to know her. And why am I even talking about that? Oh, because we're in the subconscious. And for a lot of us, right, we've just been going and doing and doing. And again, what's being asked of us is to slow down. Right? And slowing down is a lot about being quiet too, so we can hear that still small voice. The world will tell us that there's not enough time, that there's not enough money, you don't have enough good looks, your boobs aren't big enough, your abs aren't six-pack enough, there's just not enough water, there's not enough food, right? And that's all very 3D polarized belief systems. That is not the truth, though. The truth is that abundance is the truth, that love is the truth. And from infinite source perception, from God level, God mind perception, there's enough for everyone. So, learning to slow down and to acknowledge the truth in your heart. I think that's why I was talking about Laura Karate, because there were so many parts of my life that had gotten to a point of culmination that just didn't click anymore. And I needed to go in and do some deep healing and understand parts of myself in order to go through the next rung. And her retreat helped me with that. And it's helping me to flower. And so now I can fully, really step into being the heaven on earth ambassador I am, which is really just about me embodying heaven on earth within myself as a constant practice day to day, and paying it forward and sharing the teaching. So if that's something that turns you on, oh, that's what it was about. Okay, so if that's something that turns you on, you can do that for yourself. If it turns you on, you know what I'm talking about. And not like just in your first and second chakra, but like in your heart chakra as well, if it gets you excited, if it resonates with you. So I did this amazing workshop, inspired by, but completely different from her whole retreat thing. But what happened is that it elevated my own awareness of what being turned on in the world is all about. And so through my own words and my own vision and my fractal of how I can pay that forward and share that with my students, we did this amazing one-day retreat together, which I have recordings of. Again, I don't know, here or here somewhere. I'll put the links. But I have a recording of the lecture. It's a very dry recording, but it's just sort of me reading the notes of the lecture that was the intro. And the whole workshop is a secret. You're going to have to do it one day to find out about it. Being turned on. Being turned on is a part of bridging heaven on earth, right? And it's there for you and it's there for me. And being turned on is about having enough libido and life force in your being to even access the truth in your heart, and then the energy to be that in the world. Okay, and it's all about the way I'm teaching it is it's all about having your mind and your mouth align and being clear on what you say and think that turns your energy off or further turns your energy on, right? What gives you energy, what thoughts give you energy, and what thoughts steal your energy. How many people do you know every day that say, I'm so tired, I just don't have energy, and that's like their thing. I know people who like for 20, 30 years now, that's their thing. Like that's just their thing. And they're exhausted constantly. Of course they are. That's their affirmation. So anyway, that's just a little sidetrack snippet. Ultimately, subconscious, dun, 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 where we're going, into the nothingness. So as we get rid of all those apps and all those stories about ourselves, about others, about the world, about how everything is so whatever, and so I have to not shine my light. As we get rid of those, as we bless them, write our energy letters, do our prayers, do our healings, share with others, create the correct conditions so that we can be free of those ties that bind. What happens is as those apps and those stories and those people and those places, those situations begin to be released, we enter the void. And the void can be a little bit scary because, hi Moses, because we are not who we used to be. And so there is a moment, it's a big initiation into the nowosphere, what I call it. I'm writing about that too, right? Is so that once you've released those aspects that are not true to you, you're kind of naked. And that's how I felt when I wrote that book and I put it out there. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I wore my whole life on my sleeve and now everybody knows. And now I want to hide and get really depressed and drink lots of wine and just never come out of my cave, And so there is a moment where we could get into that, right? Once you release those old stories and then you're like, oh my God, I've only known myself as a victim my whole life. And really, I'm supposed to be an empowered individual? That's actually really scary to step into that power, right? There's that quote by Marianne Williamson that everyone thinks is Nelson Mandela, and I don't know it off by heart, but it speaks to one of our greatest fears is really just shining to our full capacity of brightness and of love and of light. Why are we so afraid of that? It's just conditioning. So don't be afraid. Enter the void. Disassemble those old shields, those old stories, those old, just all that stuff that holds you back from owning and being you, truly you, from you, truly honoring you and making those steps, those courageous steps to let those seeds, to water those seeds, to let them come to fruition. Entering the darkness, the subconscious void, now that you've released all those stories and those, as some people call it, programs, right? You're like, oh my God, but who am I now? Who am I now? And it might drive you to have a glass of wine, and I know I'm talking about wine a lot. I love wine, but I'm not drinking right now. So maybe that's why I'm talking about it more. But we don't want to get lazy in the void, right? The void, it's okay to hang out there. That's your time to journal, to take baths, to really be extra juicy, careful, or extra juicy, nice to ourselves. But there's a certain point where the void will suck us in and take us down if we don't step out of it appropriately ourselves. And we know, right? If you're paying attention at all, with any sincerity at all, you'll know when it's time to get out of bed, when it's time to stop drinking, when it's time to go off caffeine or cigarettes or whatever for a fast or for a detox. And it's up to you. That's a part of you being a master, right? It's up to you to do that for yourself. No one else can do your healing for you. You know that. And if you don't, word to the wise. Okay, here we go. So what is interesting is now on either side of flowering, to the left and to the right, we have going with the flow and we have compromise. Going with the flow, right? These are the aspects either side of us. These are the tools, the skills that we can utilize and embody to make our journey with greater grace. And going with the flow is so, it speaks for itself. I almost don't have to say anything about it. Look at this person. And this is emotions again. So you've uninstalled all those programs. You've released all those mental patterns of victimhood and of lack and of scarcity mentality. And you're like, oh my God. And you've gone through the void and you're like, okay, I'm beginning to just honor these little seeds. And I'm just beginning to relax into this new version of myself, this lighter version of myself without all those heavy shields and all those heavy baggage. Whew, exhale. I can just let life take me. I can just let life take me. I've created the correct conditions within myself and I continue to do so on a daily basis. And I've learned how to trust life. I've learned how to trust myself. I've learned how to trust my process. And now I don't really have to do much except continue creating the correct conditions within myself so that I may continue flowering. And remember, what happens with the flowering is life takes care of you. The less you have to do. It's more about being now. Being, learning how to be. Just be and be okay. Be okay with being still. Be okay with just breathing. Be okay with being quiet. Turn the TV off. Now, another tool is compromise, and I can speak to this. So, even amidst all of this divine feminine energy that I'm talking about here with just be and just relax, right? Okay, I know there's third dimensional, there's reality stuff that we gotta do, right, in the 3D to make stuff happen, to create those correct conditions, right? But it's the difference between doing from that lack mentality, like I gotta get this and I gotta do that because there isn't enough of this, and if I don't do it now it's never gonna happen, and just that constraint and that like stress, doing things out of stress, versus doing things because you just love doing things, and because it's your divine right to do them, and because it's your divine service to be served by serving them. Do you know what I mean? By giving them your time and attention. And so it's a very different paradigm. This card, compromise. Now, it seems like, ew, I don't like that card. Why do I have to compromise? I don't want to compromise anything ever, ever, ever. I just want it all my way forever, right? I want things to be easy forever. Now, understand, because we live in an interconnected universe, you do not stand alone, right? Most of what the truth in your heart is about and bridging heaven on earth, it's because we're all a part of heaven on earth, right? Well, those who want to are, right? I won't speak for everyone, but those who resonate with it, we all hold a piece of the puzzle. And because of that, there may be times or circumstances where compromise comes into the situation. Okay? So for example, my living situation right now, on one hand, I would love to live in solitude and be a hermit and just write my books and live with the cat and really just write books. The truth, though, that's in my heart and that is calling me is that I need to share the teachings. It's time now to share the teachings. It's not going to do anyone any good for me to live on the mountain and just write books and then just like die someday, and then who knows if the books will even ever be found. It's like that. So what are your books? What are your things? And again, it could be something like huge, or it could just be something just very gentle and simple. It doesn't even matter. It's just where the truth in your heart is. And that can shift, and that can shapeshift and change out your life, so it's okay. But the truth is that right now, my compromise is I get to live with a roommate, even though I want to be in solitude and I want to be, I want things to be a certain way in order for me to write my books. And if they're not that way, then I'm not even going to write. Okay, so that was my ego diva, right, for a long time. And as I purge and I cleanse and I clear and I get my channels clear and I listen and I become receptive, I see that my compromise for my earthly conditions, my earthly financial situations, all that stuff that's going on right now, is I am best served to live with my roommate right now and to share certain expenses right now so that I can have more time and space in my life to write and to not have to work a 9-to-5 job and pay a huge a huge rent, so that I can have more peace in my life. So that's my compromise. Am I going to kick my roommate out so I can have the whole house to myself? But then at the same time, I'm not a best-selling author yet, so I don't have those kind of doughs rolling in to pay a whole rent and to pay the whole car and to pay all the food and all that stuff. So my compromise is making peace and trusting and knowing that my roommate is divine and holy and blessed. And because, our relationship, it's beautiful. It's actually amazing. It's actually very amazing, right? And it's just my perception, as long as I'm coming from a constrained lack mentality of like, it's not perfect, and because it's not perfect, I'm just not going to work. I'm just not going to write because I can't. And like, I really talk like that when I get in that way. But you know what I mean? We all do that. But it's time to mature. It's time to rise up. and to meet yourself and to meet your circumstances. You've created these circumstances. Now, granted, if they're dangerous and they're inappropriate and they're wrong, get out, right? Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold it, know when to fold it, know when to walk away, know when to run. Yet, if you know on a higher level that you're really just so blessed and the situation actually is harmonious once you put on a new set of glasses and attain a different perception about things, you're like, actually, things are really, really good if I can just get over myself and get out of things needing to be this certain way in order for me to be happy, in order for me to be productive, in order for me to be successful. So those are your tools. Is, conscious. It's conscious compromise. Of course, we don't want to compromise our integrity. We don't want to compromise. There's different levels of where we might meet the other. Hi, Moses. I don't know why he won't just jump up here and say hi to you. He's very vocal, the cat. Going with the flow and compromise. And the more that you do, just like acknowledge, like, you know what? I am just so blessed. I'm going to count my blessings instead of my problems. Sure. This is actually blessed right now that we live together and that we get to share all these situations and these circumstances. And I know the truth in my heart. I know mine is coming, my dream of having my house and, whatever all that stuff is. Like, I know it's already here, but right now, what is here is what is. And the more I can let go and let God and let love, the easier it is to coast and to know that you're already taken care of. So that's your medicine. That's your medicine. So now, the Mayan Oracle. So these are our lenses. So speaking of lenses, right? We're going to see what card is going to offer us divine illumination and a pair of lenses to see ourselves through and to see our journey on this earth plane and cosmically and galactically now. Oh, he's getting up on the chair where the fan is. Moses. I think he wants to be a YouTube cat. We'll see about that. Okay, so this is a pulling of the lenses card from the Mayan Oracle deck for everyone and anyone who may be guided to view this tarot reading this month. 2 cards fell out, so I'm just going to continue shuffling just these 2 cards, and we're going to see which one pops. So for the highest good, for everyone guided to divinely watch this channel, this show, this January reading 2017, for the highest good of all, what lens best serves the aggregate keynote of all that are watching right now, that all that will plug in right now. What is the most divine oracle card that will best serve all of us? Okay. Portal of Transcendence. Portal of Transcendence. Wow, look at that. Look at that. That is a serious portal. Portal of Transcendence. So sit back and relax. I'm going to read. It's a full page. And I thank you so much for spending time with me. I love doing this. I'm so absolutely guided. It is so absolutely guided. And it brings me really great joy. It just feels like such a natural extension of how I get to bridge heaven on earth in my life right now. It feels very natural. So this is so powerful. I'm really excited. This card is titled Portal of Transcendence. Its qualities are birth canal of the divine self, contractions of birth, bliss, stargate, ecstatic communion, secret doorway, seen and unseen, emptiness, the void. Very interesting because we got the nothingness card when we were talking about the void a moment ago. Unknowable, revealed and revealer. Portal of Transcendence. I am beyond yet within, above yet below. The unknowable, the seen and unseen. Journey into my formless potential. Merge with my emptiness and discover your fullness. Come, child of the cosmos, you are being revealed in the forthcoming miracle. Enter the beckoning portal of the greater reality. Travel the starry vastness in the greater constellation of self. Fulfill your yearning to merge with the one heart. Soar into the oneness of shared essence. Burst old bonds and limitations. Breathe the divine breath. Expand to include more of who you truly are. The portal of transcendence is the secret doorway you have long sought, the stargate through which new worlds are seeded. So right away in this first paragraph, it totally speaks to this thunderbolt, right? And the clearing and cleansing, the purging that we were talking about. We can't make it up, right? It's divine. Open now to ecstatic communion and the rapture and grace of unconditional love. Awaken to the joyful celebration in this realm where there is only love. Oh, that's so powerful. Drink deeply of your homecoming. Experience the sublime bliss and unity found in the eternal present moment. Freed from separation, there is no doubt that you are love's present. Freed from separation, there is no doubt that you are love's presence. Fully merge once again with the serene vibration of this home. As you return home, renewed and awakened, embody the joyful frequency of heaven on earth. Oh, what? Oh, I'm just saying, this is so powerful. This is the first time I've ever done a YouTube thing, a tarot reading where I'm saying, and I'm a heaven on earth ambassador, and heaven on earth, and heaven on earth. And boom, here it is, right? And boom, this rebirthing, and boom, this nothingness and this void. This is very synchronous. I pray it speaks to you the way it's speaking to me. I might be doing this tarot reading just for me. I don't know. If you're watching, I hope I hope it resonates with you. But I'm getting a lot out of it anyway. So boom. Okay. Let's start that it's the last paragraph. We're going to start it again. As you return home renewed and awakened, embody the joyful frequency of heaven on earth. The new frequencies of the golden octave now dance within you in the splendor of the unified pulse. You are in a birth canal. Surrender to the contractions. You are in the process of birthing your expanded self. Be delivered unto ecstasy. You are the conscious dreamer, awakening the dream. Assist in the creation of the quantum leap that will catapult the earth into a new spiral of being. You are the knower. You are the oracle. You are the love. In lakech, there is no other. And I hope I said that right. And I believe that is Mayan. In lakech, there is no other. That's just, what else do we need to say? There it is. There it is. I am so very grateful that you have joined me. Again, I love doing this. I'm not doing private readings right now. Thank you all so much, though, for your interest over these past months. I'm taking my time to be and embody the author and to pay the teachings forward. And I so look forward to doing my YouTube live as I get my computer upgraded and continue upgrading myself and preparing my notes. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to share that with you. I can't even, so I won't, but I will, because we are. Okay, so many blessings. Again, I am Tuesday May Thomas. What a month. I invite you to write and to comment, to share, and please subscribe. I know it's like all the YouTubers say, please subscribe, but it really does make a difference. It's like leaving a tip in the tip jar. I do these readings for free. They're divinely guided, and I'm not going to hold anything against you if you don't subscribe. But if you dig the vibe and you like the information and you want to find out when I have more videos uploaded, you will be informed as a subscriber when there are new videos. And it just really, it helps me out. I do have one of my intentions for 2017 is to build up my subscribership on YouTube by 2,200. And that's not a lot, right? Right now I have about 600 or so, and I'm so grateful for the 600. And And what a beautiful way to begin. Though by the end of the year, I'd love to be near to 3,000. And so if you wouldn't mind leaving a tip in the tip jar, please subscribe. And if you are like not sure if you want to subscribe, at least like. Or if you like the messages, share it. Share it with your friends. Put it on Facebook or put it in an email and pay it forth. I am so very grateful. May you be blessed, and may you know that you already are. Namaste.